excited to be with everyone today. And for me, sports has always been really important. And I grew up in my neighborhood. It wasn't always organized sports, but it was just playing with each other, riding bikes. I was always chasing around my older brother, Wes. And it didn't matter if we were playing basketball or if we were just playing a game of tag with everyone in the neighborhood. We were always moving, and we were always having fun. So I want to introduce you to 4 kids who can tell you more about their lives as young athletes. So let's start with Monet Davis. Last August, Monet Davis, who's 13 years old, became the first girl to win and pitch a shutout in the Little League World Series. She is also the first African-American girl to play in the Little League World Series. For her baseball performances, Monet was named one of the 25 most influential teens of 2014 by Time magazine. Sports Illustrated Kids named her Sports Kid of the Year for 2014. And Monet is also an outstanding basketball player. Thanks for joining us. All right, next we have Bodhi Lovely. Bodhi is 13, and he's a member of the Alliance for a Healthier Generation Youth Advisory Board. In his community of Russellville, Arkansas, he introduced Might Nights. They're a free twice-monthly fitness night, and his favorite health snack is mulberries. All right. Next to Bodhi, we have Madeline Gomez. Madeline is 13, and she's a participant in DC Scores and a leader for her team. DC Scores is a local chapter of America Scores, a national nonprofit that provides programming for low-income youth in over 150 schools in 14 cities across the U.S. DC Scores operates in 47 schools and reaches 15,000 youth. And Madeline is also a voracious reader. And finally, we have Gabe Shimoff. And Gabe is 8 years old, and he's from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. He plays basketball, soccer, swimming, flag football, fantasy football, and he was a finalist in his elementary school spelling bee. And his favorite athletes are Cam Newton and Russell Westbrook. So thank you guys for joining me today. We're just going to have a conversation about your experiences as athletes. So I think let's start with you, Monet. We've seen you everywhere. You've been a really busy girl lately. So maybe you can just tell us what your last 7 months have been like.
The last 7 months of my life have been pretty crazy. It's been really wild and just a little overwhelming.
What has been one of your favorite things that you've gotten to do?
Meet President Obama and the First Lady, and probably play in the Celebrity All-Star game.
Yeah, I'd say those are some pretty cool things. Maybe you can take us back to Williamsport. What did you learn about yourself there?
One thing I learned was that how I could keep myself calm under pressure, and under all those people that came up to me and how they were asking for pictures and stuff, and how I just kind of I wasn't rude, but I wasn't
Yeah, you're able to stay focused on what you had to do.
Yeah.
That's such a great lesson, because I think that applies to sports and life in general. I'm sure everyone has to, in their own respective careers, has to do that as well. What do you think? So many of us don't have the experiences that you've had, and a lot of the other kids aren't going to have those same experiences on that level. What do you really want people to be able to take away from your success?
That no matter what you do, you can always be successful in life, and no matter how old you are, you can just if you follow your dreams, anything could happen.
Yeah, that's an awesome message. Gabe, I think that, there's a lot of great things happening on the youth level too. Can you tell us about what sports you play?
I play basketball, flag football, swimming, soccer, and my favorite sport is basketball.
Man, you're busy too.
Because I like to play with my friends, and I like the competition, and it's fun to like shoot the ball and dribble it because like you're getting active.
Yeah.
And it helps you like strengthen in other sports also. So I like it a lot.
That's cool. What do you think is your favorite thing to do at practice?
My favorite thing to do at practice would probably be a basketball 3-on-3 tournament because you get to meet new people and see how they're doing and like what they like to do and play. And you can also play against teammates, something you don't usually get to do. When you get to play against your teammates, you learn their strategies and things that can make you help them get better so they can be as good as you and you can be as good as them.
All of those things sound like a lot of fun. Madeline, can you tell us about one of your best experiences that you've had with sports?
One of my best experiences that I had with sports is embracing the feeling of seeing everybody improve. As in, like, even if they came from somewhere where they weren't encouraged as other people, it's something that really does help motivate us. Seeing like it shows us that even if we're bad, I started out terrible, but even if we're bad, we can still improve, and that's something that's really good in a sport. It shows you that you are confident in yourself.
That's amazing. I think that that's one of the best things about sports is competing with yourself. You know, it's not always about competing with the person that's next to you, but being able, like you said, being able to track your progress and to get better each day with what you're doing with yourself. So what do you think has been, that was something that's really great about sports. Have you had any bad experiences?
Yes. Some bad experience is another thing, facing myself. As in, I've had so many people put me down. As in, like, saying, oh, you're a soccer player. Since girls aren't really seen as somebody to take soccer very seriously, it's something very serious that's something that's bad about soccer that a lot of people do say, oh, you actually do soccer? Yes, I do soccer. That's basically saying that's what's bad about sports sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you want to turn it around and show them, you know, you're a girl and you're really great at soccer and you're strong and that's something to be proud of?
I think my games talk for that at the end.
I think that's always the greatest thing, to let your feet do the talking, and that quiets a lot of people. Bodhi, I know you have kind of a different experience with sports. Can you tell us what sports you play?
Well, I play, I don't really play, but I do karate. I also, with my friends, I do like Nerf. Like the Nerf guns, I play with those. I do some stuff that not many teenagers do, because like I know a lot of people in my school, they're not really interested in karate because, you know, like they want to do something that more people know about, like football or basketball, soccer, baseball, those kinds of sports. But I like to do things that not many other people do, and I can, you know, show how much fun I'm having, and then maybe they'll be interested in them too.
Now, I know a lot of those things that you mentioned are individual sports, things that you do on your own. Why are team sports not really your thing?
Well, I don't really play on teams because in most team sports, like, I'm not really good at them. I don't feel that, I could benefit the team as much as I should, so I prefer to do things on my own where I can do it kind of more however I want.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with individual sports. I spend a lot of time practicing by myself, and it's still very enjoyable as well. And I know that you live in a rural area. Is it hard for you to get together with your friends, or is that pretty easy? How does that work?
Well, I mean, it's a bit more complicated than just going across the street to, you know, Jim's house and then, you know, just calling and saying, I'll be there in about 3 minutes. You know, you kind of have to call a couple days before, make plans. and it takes a bit longer to, get a schedule going because everyone's a lot farther away.
And when you do get together with your friends, what kind of things do you guys do when you're just playing?
We do whatever we're interested in at the time. Like if sometimes we might go to a park and do something that's at the park. Sometimes we might just be at our house and we do something there. It just depends on where we meet up.
Okay. Monet, I know you live in an urban area. Do you see any challenges that kids face who maybe aren't as talented or as driven as you?
There are challenges that a lot of people face when they're not as good as someone else and they don't have the confidence and they just don't believe in themselves and being a better player.
What do you think are some things that could get those kids more involved or get them to come out and try new sports?
Their friends, if their friends help them.
Yeah.
If their friends help them go to practice with them and just play with them at recess or something, that'll help them out.
Are you really close to your teammates? I know for me, teammates is huge. That's something that does make, playing sports so much fun. What is your relationship like with your teammates?
From Williamsport, that has been pretty crazy. I mean, we were together for about 22 days.
Yeah.
And it does get pretty tiring, but I mean, can't get tired of it.
Yeah. What about your basketball teammates? Are you guys really close?
They're the same. It's
Okay.
the same group of kids.
Okay.
So.
That's really neat. So I know a lot of us haven't, we have been fortunate to be involved in a lot of sports at a young age, but Madeline, do you know of kids who are ever left behind because they get into organized sports late or they're just late bloomers?
That's hard. Could you repeat the question?
Okay. Do you have any friends who maybe, like for me, I started track when I was in high school, and so I wasn't as familiar with the sport. Do you know any, do you have friends who had the same experience who maybe got into sports late and it made it hard for them?
I mean, I think it's always depending on the type of team you have and what type of sport you're playing. I know for a fact that when I started off playing soccer, I was basically the child who's like, oh man, she doesn't know how to play, she's going to make us lose the game, right? But it's always that one person that's going to help you out, that's going to teach you, and most of the time that's your coach or your best friend that's on the team. So, I mean, it always depends on who you believe in, how you believe in yourself, and what type of team you have, and the coach that you have, and how much spirit you want to put into what you're playing.
Yeah, I think the coach is so important. I know for me, I always had the most fun and I learned the most when my coach was really knowledgeable and really took the time to invest in me. Monet, what do you think makes a good coach?
The person who cares about the whole team and who puts their time and effort into making that team better.
Yeah, definitely. Gabe, what about you? What do you think makes a good coach?
Well, a good coach has to be fair. He has to be willing to do things that maybe he doesn't want to, but the other kids want to do. The coach has to be not get off track because you can take him to a totally different sport. You don't want to be at basketball practice and then you're playing air hockey.
That is so true. Can you tell us about maybe one of your favorite coaches that you've had?
One of my favorite coaches that I had was a basketball coach at a group, and his name was Coach Kevin, and he was nice and he didn't get off track.
Yeah. He was really focused.
Yeah, and he knew a little bit more than my dad.
So he was you think that he was a better coach than your dad?
Yeah, because my dad yells a lot.
Okay, well, Gabe, don't forget your dad is out there. So what do you guys think about the kids in your neighborhood? What sports are they into? And do you think, Madeline, maybe you can talk about this. What do you think? Do you think there's enough options for sports for them to try?
I think there are so many sports that they can try, but it's the people who are around them who encourage them to do these things. I know for a fact that I grew up watching Messi playing on TV, so that kind of made me want to play soccer. So knowing that these kids probably grew up seeing LeBron James or like or seeing somebody else on TV, I think that they really do. There are many. Oh my God.
They're inspired. They're inspired by those players that they saw
Yeah.
on television.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe Monet, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that too. Like, did anybody inspire you? Any of your favorite athletes that you watched growing up?
Well, I watched a lot of basketball, so like LeBron and Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
and a lot of those like the famous, not really, but like
Yeah.
the big players.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all inspired by them. Well, maybe let's talk a little bit about the future. Bodhi, can you tell us what you're doing to help kids enjoy sports more?
Well, as a member of the Youth Advisory Board, I created this thing called Might Nights. And Might Nights were, they started out once a month, and then in the second year I made them twice a month at 2 different schools. And there were free physical activity nights that kids and their families could go, and I had a different activity each month for them to do with their parents and their peers. And a lot of the kids who went, there was some of my friends who came with me. There was people in an after-school group called Adventure Kids who went, and a lot of the kids, like, they didn't have access to sports or anything like that, so they kind of trusted in me a bit to help them and give them something to do while they were at Adventure Kids or after school.
And does everybody love Might Nights?
Everyone who went, I think, went home with a smile, and they, went back at least a couple other times.
And what made you think to start this?
Well, when I first joined the Alliance, I had an idea just to have once a year, to have a big event with lots of different stations with all of the different activities. And I talked to my principal, and she recommended just to do them once a month and to have one different activity each month. So that's kind of what I built off of.
Great. Gabe, can you maybe tell us one thing that you think would help make kids get more involved in sports?
If like some people, I could be one of them, set up like a group where you would play, and then you would also every month you could, like, this is just something you could do in your family. You could keep track of how much hours of video games you play, and then the next month try to do less video games and try to match how much hours you played video games with how much hours you have been active.
Okay, that's awesome. All about getting more active and staying moving. Monet, what about you? What do you think is something that would help kids to get moving and get more involved in sports?
To just like put like a reward out there. So no matter what you do or how old you are, you always want a reward. So you reward them after they did a certain amount of hours staying active.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's all about really having fun as well. Madeline, do you have anything to add with that?
I think it's mostly about having the encouragement from probably friends. I know for a fact that a lot of my friends are scared to join the team because they feel as if they're going to be made fun of because of how bad they probably play or how good they probably play. I know that I was basically like put apart to the team when I started off, but it was always that one person, as I said before, that really did help out. So it's basically the encouragement of people who will lead you on to success.
So it's really important to be a good friend and a good teammate and help those people who aren't as comfortable as others might be. All right, well, great. You guys have really, I think, helped everyone understand your experience with sports, and we appreciate you being here and appreciate you sharing your stories with us. Thank you.